Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play and another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is, of course, Zaviga on the Amiga. No, not really. So, we're playing a game, and guess what popular Namco-developed 1970s game this looks like? Although, this game has an interesting gimmick. So you see those two small little treads, and you're thinking, hey wait, this is not Xevious, this is actually a tank game. He's a tank. Well, with the simple press of the second button, you are now a spaceship. And yet, surprisingly, you're vulnerable to the skulls even above and below ground. Figure that one out. So as a spaceship, you can safely fly over everything. As a tank, you can safely crash into essentially everything. Time will tell as to whether or not you wouldn't want to just stay in the spaceship form, but I mean, the game starts you off in tank form, so you gotta figure it's good for something, I guess. Or good for stealing your quarters. Let's see. So when you're in the spaceship form, yeah, in the spaceship form you can fly over land enemies, but in tank form, you crash into everything. That's not very fair. Also, too, as you see, you can crash into, mountains. Now check this out. I'm gonna land on this poor little tank. Well, I didn't quite do it, but when you land on tank, you still die, so you can't even do death from above. That kind of sucks. Because, I mean, if you can't crash into things and kill things by falling into them from above, then what's the point of being in the air? I mean, really. Otherwise, this looks like a job for auto-fire. Don't you just love the characteristic, like, shot pattern auto-fire does? It's like, some games, like, kind of guard against auto-fire, but not completely, so it's like you start shooting more in bursts. Also, it seems that you can just happily go left for eternity. I wonder if your ship is, like, subtly turning left, but you can't tell, so it's like you're just really going in a giant circle. Probably not. Video games don't quite work like that, but it's kind of interesting to think, it's like, how would that look in real life? And again, why tank form? Although we have a handy indicator that tells you whether you're up or down. That's right, maybe this game should have been called Up and Down. Although, it is a little bit of fluff, the middle stages, because it's like, you're either up or you're either down, which is an interesting dichotomy for airships, because there's a lot of ground between up and down. This sort of up and down. Also, oh man, I remember playing these like flash-based chase games, and like one secret was just to always go left, where you had to like dodge pylons or something. And evidently that seems to be the secret to this game. You just gotta go left, and that's the right thing to do. Huh. I actually kind of expected this to stop working after a while, but evidently not. So, the secret of the game is actually going left. In fact, we don't even need to shoot anything. Well, this was a, hard game. Let's see, if we go down, will we crash into anything? No, because we're thankfully in a happy desert. Yes, happy desert. And nothing's gonna get you. Are we really invulnerable to... Okay. Something finally got me as I was going left. Although, yeah, I'm hoping that's just because I was cheesing the system and just going left, but it seems like the game didn't... It might have been making me progress slower. Like, if you look at that checkpoint, maybe it was going up a little slower just because the game knew that I was constantly going left and therefore cheating. But you never know, because, I mean, maybe the game isn't quite savvy enough to realize that maybe people can break it just by going left. Although we got to deterrents in the desert level, so they're a deterrent enough. Turrets are a deterrent. Not quite. Not quite. Even going up to the top of the screen doesn't seem to advance the game anymore. Maybe you move faster as a ship. Maybe you earn more points as a ship, as a tank. Probably should, because it seems like it's a lot harder. But you don't even... Okay, so a lot of games kind of give you, like, residual points just for, like, advancing in the level. I guess it's more typical of, like, driving games than, shoot-em-ups. But yeah, some games just give you points for just advancing. So I'd imagine, like, it'd be a pretty easy mechanic. It's like if you're in the tank, you get more residual points than if you were flying. That being said, this game at least triples, if not quadruples in difficulty if you're a tank. Those spider guys, they're just like sitting around crashing into the mountain. What's their deal? Yeah, so that's kind of a thing about this game. It's really sparse. I mean, like, you don't have to do anything most of the time. Like a lot of arcade games, I mean, they just keep throwing things at you, and they just keep throwing things at you, and they keep throwing things at you, and you're like, at least always doing something. Even if it's like rapidly mashing the button, or like moving left and right, or whatever. You like constantly have to be engaged, constantly have to be thinking. But in this game, I mean, you just, what do? It's like, oh, shoot, oh, shoot. That's it. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm done. Shoot, shoot. Move, shoot. Oh, better shoot. I mean, you can really space out your movements and, like, kind of think about things, really. So, that is kind of crazy. Although, then again, game programmed in the, what, 80s? So, I mean, you might even, like, be able to think faster than the processor in this one, so... Yeah, okay, I guess it makes sense, but it's a little disappointing. I mean, arcade games, I feel like, should constantly keep you engaged, in some sense, at least. Let's see, third, fourth buttons? No nothing? Although, yeah, I mean, I was saying earlier that going left is a nice secret towards getting throughout the level, but, you gotta be careful, because I think the shots track you. Like, if it's a left-angled shot and you're going left, then the shot's gonna hit you, or something like that. So I guess there's a natural built-in... Basically, you can't dodge shots that are going right by going right. So, yeah. I guess you have to pay some amount of attention, but... Yeah, not so much. Although, yeah, I hope you've been noticing the ship's, like, floaty controls. Like, you press left a little bit, and your ship kind of floats left a little bit, kind of like a hovercraft. And I mean, yeah, we've progressed to, like, checkpoint 18, but it still feels like checkpoint 5. Well, okay, if we ignore the Cloud Fortress, it's still like checkpoint 5, but... I mean... This game really hasn't gotten interesting yet. I mean, there's no real, like, gimmick or no real thing to do. I mean, yeah, you've got the tank form, but it's like, it feels completely extraneous, because what need do you have of the tank? The tank doesn't do anything. Like, and what I mean is, if the game should force you to use the tank at some point in time. If it's gonna have a mechanic like that, it should probably force you to use the mechanic. And I mean, this game just doesn't. So, we've got a kind of boring, sparse game whose, like, only real differentiation from Xevious is also kind of not really meaningful. So, I mean, I gotta give you props for, like, trying to differentiate yourself from Xevious, and yeah, I'll admit, if you were in the tank form, then it'd be a harder game, but you didn't really make any meaningful changes from Xevious, so... It's just a very, very slow game, too. Cripes. Well, that was that. Sometimes it's slow. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat.